Thank you for the opportunity to present my novel, Finding Christina, of which I am writing the sequel. I write under the pen name Emilia Rosa. My family is from south of Brazil, cowboy country, and I am a mix of German, Basque, Portuguese, and Spanish blood. I was born in California while my father was studying in Stanford University. When I was a few months old, my family went back to Brazil and took me with them. In my teens, I fell in love with reading, which I did voraciously in Portuguese, French, Spanish, English, and Italian. My knowledge of languages afforded me work in trade shows and events, and I also worked as a fashion model. The setting of my story takes place in an area I knew in my youth in Brazil, the city of Rio de Janeiro. That city's name, Rio de Janeiro, literally means River of January. On May of 1502, the Portuguese explorers who had arrived in north of Brazil in the 1500s thought they were entering the estuary of a river when in fact it was a bay, the Guanabara Bay. Guanabara is Tupi-Guarani, the language of the Indians that inhabited that area. One of the translations of the word is bosom of the sea. Rio has many places that kept their Tupi-Guarani names, such as Carioca, Niterói, Paquetá, Icaraí. Words fascinate me, and I enjoy researching their meaning and origin. I love Rio's Portuguese colonial buildings, walked among them with my parents and my sister. Some of the focal points in my story are the sidewalks of Copacabana Beach, the Municipal Theater, Copacabana Palace Hotel, Bar Adolf, and some of the old colonial streets and alleyways of downtown area. Many of the buildings, restaurants, and streets in this story survived a period of urban renewal starting in 1903, Rio de Janeiro, by the mayor, engineer Francisco Pereira Passos, model on the city of Paris. I show these places in a special picture presentation that I do in public libraries and private settings. Finding Christina is an historic novel that includes mystery, action, comical moments, and romance. There is even an unusual duel. The characters hail from Brazil, the United States, France, Italy, Poland, England, and Russia. Although I only make allusions to those events, the main characters in my story are survivors of the global tragedies of World War I, then the Great War, and the Russian Revolution. These historic events were key to the formation of friendships and familiar relationships that set this story in motion. In 1920s Rio de Janeiro, after the death of her father, Christina keeps her head above water, supporting her ailing mother by working as a pianist. When her path crosses with Robert, a wealthy American visiting Rio, she glimpses into a different world, but one that has more connections to her past than she realizes. There are no spoiler alerts in this presentation because I will not give away the plot nor a hint of the finale. Suffice it to say that this novel is suited for all ages. It includes no profanity and no adult-only themes and has a good dose of fun characters and situations. I believe this is a good read for the young as well as the adult audiences. A reader from England deemed it, quote, a delightful book, fast-moving, thrilling in parts, and heartwarming in others. Another from Spain wrote, Emilia Rosa's novel seems to encompass a new literary style enriched by the knowledge the writer has of different cultures and the tactile way in which she presents them. D. Donovan of the Midwest Book Review wrote, readers will be delighted in the manner in which Emilia Rosa presents her spunky, strong character's response to the mystery and love that led her in unexpected new directions. As I mentioned previously, I've been an avid reader since I was young, as I always had a soft spot for old books, the disheveled, dog-eared ones most people pass by and don't notice, the ones that still have those old library pockets in the back. My favorite writers include Marjorie Allingham, Dorothy Sayers, Agatha Christie, Jane Austen, Stuart Palmer, George Belair, and too many others to mention. I enjoy their skill at creating stories that include a mystery, intrigue, and humor. And although their styles varied, humor seems to have been a common thread among them and was the trait that kept me coming back for more. I believe they influenced my writing style, although I don't claim to have mastered their exalted writing quality. I'm asked at times if any characters of my novel were drawn from reality. Although not one is real, as a highly observant person, I used moments, situations, and traits I encountered throughout my life. Another question I'm routinely asked is what inspired me to write a story? You see, Rio marked my childhood very strongly. So the setting defined itself naturally. I had the main character in my mind for a while. I have written poetry and I enjoy creating imagery with unique word combinations. So I decided to try to use this technique in a novel. Here is an example from the book. The early sunlight plunged its fingers into the cobalt blue sea, the sea the Portuguese explorers thought was a river. It sprinkled with a myriad of diamonds that crashed upon the coast's soft sand. Slowly, the light spread towards the sidewalk where little black and white stones mimicked waves and sand. The sun reached the asphalt, then reflected against the relatively sparse large houses that fringed the thoroughfare facing the sea. This was the opening scene of Finding Christina. I want my book to entertain you, make you smile, and be glad you read it. Thank you for watching.